We are on for Reloaded. Jimmy, hour 2 is beginning. A few minutes behind, that's okay. It's the power of live content. Yep. And I think, so you know what? Actually, Evan was supposed to stick around and dance for this, Flynn.
No,
Yes. I don't know where the hell Mark's went, but Mark's was going to hang around, but he left. He burpees or something in his basement. I don't know what he's doing, but. So listen, the first hour is done. Morning Loop, we talked about the power of language. We met Evan Marks, jumps into the cold shower every single day. We continue that chat about just the choices you have in your day and where you're going to head. And then we talked to Joy Jensen about ketosis and fat burning and so forth. Now we're going to restart the second hour, Morning Loop Reloaded. And I want to start this hour the same way that I started the last hour. And we don't get many chances to do this, but I want to keep leaning into the conversation with humanity. And Johnny, I subscribe to Arnold's newsletter, Arnold Schwarzenegger's newsletter, The Pumped, whatever it's called. And he dropped something in my inbox this morning. I wanted to talk about it because I thought he just said some really great things which are meaningful considering it is a big week in the United States. And first of all, Johnny, he says, nation, business athlete nation, Americans, use your power, right? It's easy to take things for granted, but there are people around the world who give up everything to have the opportunity to choose a direction for your country. So just, I say this often in Canada, I say this with civic, all kind of politics. You can't bitch if you're not going to vote. It's just, you can't have one without the other. But here's the one I really want to lean into for today's show. The second challenge that Arnold puts on the table for all of us is this. It's going to be harder for everybody. And we talked about this a little bit in the first hour, and I know Johnny believes what I'm going to say very clearly here. I want you to remember, Business Athlete Nation, even though people might disagree with you, they're not your enemy. No, you might disagree with somebody about debt or taxes or immigration, you name it. I'm just reading Arnold's word for word here. But that does not mean you have to give up your humanity. And it doesn't mean you have to be nasty to the person over there. It doesn't mean that they're a communist or a Nazi. And here's what I loved about what he said, Christina and John. It just means that person over there has a different vision of policy. That's it. That's it. Doesn't mean they hate John. Doesn't mean they hate Keith. Got a different point of view. And what I've learned, especially as I get older, there's some power in learning about new points of view. And I know that there's some people at the top have given all of us a bad example, how to treat our fellow men and human. And all you have to do is listen to some of their rhetoric over the last few days. We'll just put that aside. But my challenge that Arnold says to all of you is just to stay out of the mud, because there's going to be enough nastiness over these next 5 to 10 days in the United States, no matter what happens. So as Arnold says to all of you, and I'm going to offer it up as well, just as your Canadian uncle to the north, I encourage you, you know how to, as you start your day, rise above it. Be the human. Wherever you vote. I really don't care how you vote, frankly. It makes no difference to me. I just want you to get out there, make a decision, be human about it, and love the person across the table. And remember, it's a policy that you might not agree with. It's not the human that you probably don't like or agree with. Johnny.
First off, of course, I agree with everything. But I think if we took this whole concept and we boil it down a little, let's start off with, if we can, I should say I can't include myself in this one, but if those of you that are commuting to work every day, if you could keep from flipping off your fucking neighbor in traffic,
yes,
that's a start. Because of course, you're going to be all fucking wound up with the difference in opinion of policy. If you can't fucking treat each other with respect when you're sitting in a fucking car in traffic next to each other. So I think it's got to go. I so agree with everything, but I think if you get to the roots of it, I think then all of the things that we see that are above ground are going to start to change. And unfortunately, somehow, some way, everybody's gotten so goddamn wound up tight, and the word hate is thrown around like it's like I don't think that word should be part of someone's dislike. There's so many words you can use to describe it that doesn't prompt that direction of your mind. But either way, I so agree, Arnold. And on that level, I think the place to start is with the easy shit, with the stuff, just treating your fellow man with respect in the goofiest little situations, in the grocery store, in line, when you're in traffic, when you're buying coffee. One thing I love is when I pass somebody and I address, hey, how are you? And most people are not used to that. And they're like, I'm great. How are you? When I'm on the telephone, like I'm calling the bank, I need some help. And I don't know this person. She says, hello, this is Jessica. How can I help you? Hey, Jessica, how are you today? I'm John. Hope you're having a great day. There's a little pause. She'll go, hey, John, I'm having a great day. And she's so used to dealing with pissed off people, I can give her a little respect, a little joy, and that shit spreads like wildfire. If people would just recognize that we can actually be kind to others, and it's a different world we live in.
It's crazy what you said that, Johnny, and Flynn, I'm going to bring you up here, is that Johnny said something that we all do throughout our days, And again, the point of this show is to create aha moments for people. I'm hoping somebody heard John and they're going, yeah, you know what? I got to make a phone call right now and I'm going to ask the person how they're feeling right now. Christina, it's those little things, right? Those simple things, Christina, that we often get so caught up in. And Evan talks about intention. And I know we're talking cliche and woo-hoo-hooey, but man, when Johnny intentionally asks the human on the other side of the phone how they're doing, the power of how John's affecting that human, eh, Christina?
Sorry, Chris, go ahead, forgive me.
It's
Yes.
bringing humanity into interactions again. It's about like we so easily go through our day with this monotony of I just got to get it through the day. I just got to get through. I don't have time to ask anyone how they're doing. I do the same thing, John, and I remember my parents always doing the exact same thing. And you're right, there's always a pause and then there's like a I don't really know what to do with this. And then there's sometimes a response, but oftentimes it's they also are like, okay, get to it. Do you even mean this? Are you just saying it? I think the point that Evan raised that like really hit with me is that so much of the anger towards someone else is really not towards that person at all. It's towards people in our lives that have hurt us. It's towards the situations that are out of our control that we wish we could control. It's towards all of these things that are triggering us that are always about us. They're not about that person or that individual. I think at this position in this moment in time, particularly in the US, but in a lot of places in Western countries and in North America, people are unhappy. People are really struggling. And I think they're taking it out on other people in an external way versus looking inward and saying, what can I do to control this situation? And what can I do within myself to actually make myself happier with the hope that those around me will benefit from that as well?
Well, down until we're actually giving somebody a little joy, a little kindness. But then the second dimension of that is like excuse me, in a coffee shop, you're saying hello to the person that's taking your order on the telephone. It's wonderful to make them smile. But what you're also doing is you're giving them a little joy and it's helping them do their job a little bit better. And guess who they're doing their job for? You. So it's like this positive vortex. That person on the other end of the telephone probably has the ability to do a lot more for you than they'll let on if they think you're a cocksucker. No, I can't help you do that. Sorry. I'm gonna have to send you you got to go to the center of the department.
If you've ever worked in one of those call centers, which I know I have, I think Keith has, you have way more power than you're about to.
Yes. But when you're kind to someone, you'd be really surprised at how, when you're kind and you're giving them a little smile, giving them a little joy, they want to help you. You have a great experience talking to them. They feel like they had a wonderful experience. It's a job well done, but it wins.
It's interesting because I see a comment here. We're going to get to the end of Jim's segment in a quick second, Jimmy, but I see a comment here from Jack Dugan, and he's saying, so sad that we have to explain that being kind and encouraging to a stranger is okay. You're right, Jack. I don't disagree with you, Jack. But the reality is, it seems to have left parts of society. And I feel like we should have the conversation because, Johnny, in Canada, we maybe are a little more kinder than our American friends. So just going down the street and saying hi to people is a little more normal. But I hear you. I hear you, brother.
And the thing about it is, it's get so much joy from smiling at someone and saying, hello, how are you? Their reaction, that's what creates the joy.
Yes. Yes.
And we all have complete control of we can produce joy for ourselves and others, and it's all works as one. And it's just because it's just get right down to it. Going back to this whole conversation earlier, we're all human beings. And if we strip away all the bullshit, what do we want? We want to enjoy our lives. We want to be happy. And we can, if we work just a little bit together, it's pretty fucking easy.
Oh, I love
it. One thing I want to say too, by no means are we saying that this is easy. By no means are we saying that this is going to change all the hardship that's fucking happening in the world. It's just say hi to your neighbor. But what we are saying is that you can control parts of this, especially in these moments right now where everything feels out of control. Take your piece of power and control that piece of it, that one little thing, and stick with that, because that's going to be way more powerful than sitting there and bitching and moaning about everything that you're unhappy about.
And on that level, I so agree, Christina. The message is not, hey, make somebody smile on the way to work and we're not going to have problems and with the shit that we're in with our political world. But what it is saying is, hey, just like we preach on the show, start small and focus on the shit you can control. And funny enough, the shit you can control is actually going to make somebody else happy as well.
What's fun? It's really fun, John. And I alluded to this at the beginning of the show about teaching an old dog new tricks. I've loved embracing the word intention with certain things because it's really fun when you're intentional about things. So, John, I'm hearing you say when you're intentionally kind to somebody, you have that intentional kindness and then you get something in response, it feels pretty fucking good, doesn't it, Johnny? You're like, yeah.
And check this out. I got to share this because I have to go out into the world when I know I'm going to see people other than even when my wife comes out of the bedroom, I have to be intentional about greeting her and doing the things that I do to make her help her understand how I feel about her. But going out in the world, it's almost like we've got these defaults just to put our heads down and just do this versus you before you step outside, you know what? I'm going to greet and smile at the next person I see. And boom, you get this feeling like, oh, I want to do that again. And it just, that's how your day starts to unfold. So you can get this ball rolling just by understanding, being intentional. Like you said, Keith, you do it to the first person. Your brain will give you some chemicals that makes you want to do it again. Next thing you know, you're saying hi to everybody. You're smiling at everybody and you're having a fucking great day.
When I watch it often with Lauren, Christina, sometimes I got to make guys, it drives me nuts because she's so kind and her personality is so loving. And I love those attributes of her. But sometimes like Lauren, like not everybody wants to say hi to you, but she's, no, but I do. And I love her enthusiasm because she's so kind. And everybody she talks to, they love her because her kindness, John, Christina, is always coming through with intention. And I don't know how you cannot like that kind of human being. Like, honest to God.
So true, brother. And the thing about it is we're doing it for ourselves.
Yes.
I feel good doing this.
Yeah,
and the person doesn't want to, if they don't want to respond, they don't want to play ball. No harm, no foul. I get it. I hope you have a better day tomorrow. And if I get another chance to smile at you, I'll do it again. But I'm doing it for me. Yes. And from the standpoint of, I'm not doing this because I'm expecting something in return. I'm doing it because it feels good to share joy. It feels good to be kind. And most people will respond. They don't have a choice. It's a rest. Sometimes they're a little puzzled at first, but then they'll smile and you kind of like, whoa. And you can see that you've affected them and you feel good for helping them see the sun in their sky. And it's like, it's just this positive vortex. Next thing it's like, fuck, man, this is an amazing day.
Yeah.
You know what I love, Keith? You know what I love? I love picturing John walking down the street and John's walking and people think all the things that they think when they look at someone like John, right?
Yes.
And then he's, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, what are you talking about? And I just get like, that vision is so awesome. I love it.
I'm thinking, Chris, hold on, Johnny. I'm thinking, John, hold on, Johnny, but I'm thinking, Christina, it probably as much motivates John because, and again, we're talking in front of John, right? So John's 6'2", 280 pounds. He's he's a successful athlete. And on the outside, you look at the book and you immediately have a judgment. And then all of a sudden, then he opens his mouth to talk to him. Like, oh, it's not the cover of the book. And John's like, yeah, I've convinced you differently, motherfucker. That's exactly what's on his head brain, Christina. I'm sure.
Here's another one too. We often will hold the door for someone, but do it in fucking silence. It's like you hold the door. How are you today? Whoa. It's just these little tiny simple gestures that just, and it's just being smile will provoke something in another person. And I think it's just such a missed part of our lives.
Yes.
In our current society.
Morning intentions, morning matters, and morning manners. Tips from John Anderson, Christina Flynn, and Keith Billis here on Morning Loop Reloaded. Your mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. All right.